Welcome to TVN Business. I am Chiwendu Osisiago. Today we shall be discussing on the topic the rising demand for modern technologies in Nigerian infrastructure industry, elevators and escalators in perspective. And guess who will be doing justice to the topic? He's not a person than the managing director of Escalators Nigeria Limited. He is Mr. Enrich Akomolafe. You're welcome to TVN Business.
Thank you very much. It's a great pleasure.
Thanks, sir. We're happy to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, talking about escalators and elevators, we know the range of services under the mandate of Escalators Group.
Escalators Nigeria Limited, Escalators Group is a full engineering company. We're into real estate, we're into construction, and we're into renewable energy. But one of our core business is the elevators and escalator industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's basically all.
Yeah, that's basically what Escalators Group is all about.
Okay, how would you assess the demand for modern technologies such as this in the Nigerian space? And what range of service does Escalators Group offer?
When you talk about technology, technology is an evolving mode. So in every year there's a new need for new technology and new demand for technology. In terms of the elevator industry, Nigeria is a very is a developing country, and in terms of infrastructure, we've been doing really good, not really perfect, but and then the need of this modern technology has been in a very high demand. Like in residentials, there's a need for elevators. In commercial buildings, there are need for elevators. So technology has been something really very interesting, and I think the industry has been doing so well in terms of that.
Alright, in terms of skills and manpower, how readily available do you assess such in the Nigerian labor force?
So as you can see, Nigeria is one of the most populated countries in Africa.
Yeah.
So we have the manpower, but in terms of skills, Nigeria has really not attained that skills requirements in terms of the elevator industry. Elevator is really very complex, and the demand is really very high. In the world, there are about 12 million elevators in operation, and about 1 billion usage every day. So you can see it's one of the most populated, one of the most used equipment or vertical transport in the world. So Nigeria has not really attained that skill requirement, because elevator has three different phases: from the design, which has to do with the architecture, and then it has to go to the mechanical, which are the ones in charge of the installation process, and then the electrical, which are the ones to do the testing and then the commissioning. So you find out that most of all these university students don't really know what an elevator is. So our universities need to really, and the government in terms of training, we really need to work hand in hand to see how we can bring out skills. It's not just about going to the university, but it's about coming out with a skill, and which I think we're still far behind. In Spain, where our manufacturers are, they have about 2 different testing tours, and these testing tours are in the university, not even in the factory. So they are young university students that goes out to try to test, try to understand how an elevator is working. But in Nigeria, we don't have any such. So I think our government really needs to have a partnership with some of these elevators companies like Escalators to see how we can improve in terms of skills. And however, we're also working with some of these universities to see how we can create a strategic partnership, because our elevators in the University of Maiduguri, University of Port Harcourt, Nigeria Open University, Imo State University, and Kwara State University. So we're seeing how we can partner and then give these young engineers basic training so that they can actually utilize it when they're out of university.
Okay, I'm trying to get something. Are you saying elevator and escalator, are they a course on its own?
Elevator and escalator is not a course, but is an essential tools in part of mechanical components. Okay. So it's a vertical transport. It's just like a car, a aeroplane. People go to school to learn mechanic. People go to school to be a pilot, people go to school to learn aviation engineering, but there is no school or institute that people go to learn what an elevator is. An elevator is not just about the car, it's about the component. There are about 200 components you need to couple together to make the elevator move.
Okay. So how may government policies assist the German subsector of infrastructure development, especially in the area of duties and exile?
Yes, recently the government just passed the disabled law, and the government do not really consider the other aspect of it. It's not just about passing a law, it's about people actually implementing that law. And in terms of when you talk about the cost, you need to factor the duty charges and these other expenses, other charges. So I think the government really, because we don't actually manufacture an elevator in Nigeria. Okay. The only thing we do is to assemble. So the government, all elevators have been imported either from China or from Europe. So the government really need to look into the aspect of duties, if they can actually reduce it or give some concession in terms of the duty charges.
So talking about, no government have said the elevators for the disabled. So how do you guys, work with that?
In terms of that factor, I will compliment. I will say we're doing a very good aspect, because as I have said before, our elevators are European standard. It comes with European normative and standard, and it's 100% compliance with disables. So all our elevators, there are different factors which you need, like the height where the push button is, the alarm system, okay, the sounds, and so also, and then the parts on the button. So all our elevators basically are disabled compliance. So we don't have any challenge in terms of that. And then we are presently working in the airports where you have the iron staircase. We've tried to integrate an elevator in these two parts, the arrival and the departure, to also comply with the disabled law the Nigerian government has actually passed recently.
Okay, thank you. What's your take on the ease of doing business in Nigeria, and what would you advise the federal government to look into?
To be sincere with you, I've heard about the ease of doing business in Nigeria, but I've not seen any visible act, because we've been in the business for more than 15 years. And however, this law was just passed recently, about 2 to 3 years ago, and I've not really seen any changes, because you find out you bid for jobs. It takes a long while for you to be paid. It takes a long while for the documentation to be done. I think the government really need to go back and try to see how to implement the ease of doing business. We are far behind in terms of all these things. We should actually, if we want, the basic advice I will have for the government is, if we can actually digitalize process of documentations in terms of bidding document, in terms of paying duties, everything should be digitalized. So we can actually implement and facilitate the ease of doing business in Nigeria. But the government is not doing too bad, because we're still getting there. So.
Okay. Well, how your business have been moving like that without the government? Or are you guys working with the government?
We are working with the government, and most of our projects, we're working with CBN, okay, we're working with FIRS, we're working with FAN. We're working with a lot of governmental projects.
Okay. Yeah. Then what's the prospect for local manufacturing of these equipment in Nigeria? Does it present a hope of market competitiveness in the nearest future?
In the nearest future, I would say yes. But as I've said, since we're talking about elevator and escalator, about 60 to 80% of elevator equipment components have been done by steel. And we don't have any steel company not have any. I think Ajakuta is not yet still functional. So the government really needs to start with that before we start looking about manufacturing elevator. And then since the government has passed new bill for disabled, and I think the demand is going to increase, so the government really needs to look into that, so that it can ease and then we can be a point of business in like we can export to Ghana or the Senegal, like close by countries. So the government really need to look into the steel industry before thinking about the elevators industry.
Okay, will you be willing to highlight some of the flagship projects you have installed and maintained across Nigeria?
Yeah, well, as I've said, we're the sole distributor of MP lifts in Nigeria, which is one of the best elevator industry presently. And we've done a lot of flagship projects. I think we are in about 7 CBN central bank projects, which is CBN Bayelsa, CBN Gusau, CBN Makurdi, CBN Benin Kebbi, and I think about 2 other CBN branches. And for the north, we're the ones maintaining all the northern region for FRS buildings in the elevators. We also have our elevators in the FRS headquarters, and the #1 engineering society, which is the Society of Engineers. Our elevators is there, and then in Abuja International Airport also we have our project and so on. We've installed about more than 100 elevators presently, and we're maintaining them in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Then please, what's your word of encouragement for your young fellow corporate leaders and entrepreneurs in Nigeria today?
As you can see, I'm really very young. When people, that is
that's why I said your fellow.
Yeah, that is one of the major challenges when I go meet some client and then they ask, "You're very young. How are you able to do this?" Yeah, I'm like, yes, it's not being young. Is the ability to deliver what you know and what you have for the future. And my basic encouragement for people is there is no limitation in life. So if you have the skills, you can actually do whatever you want to do. So it's a challenge for every young fellow. So my encouragement for people is, Nigeria is a land of opportunity. We just need to keep working to get there.
Thank you. And your final thoughts or esteemed viewers?
We are committed in delivering effective services to our customer. And as an elevator and escalator company, we put safety as our priority. And we put our customer first, and we've been doing so good, and we encourage all the architects, the companies in the construction industry to patronize us, and we've done so well for the industry, and we'll continue to improve. Thank you.
Alright, that's the much we have for you today on TBN Business. I am Chiwendi Osisiego, and I want to sincerely appreciate Mr. Enrich Akomolafe for doing justice to the questions. So we are very grateful, sir.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.